come on, how was I supposed to know those fireworks were illegal? The guy that sold them to me seemed like a trustworthy individual. Trustworthy as in, I would trust he knows how to flambe. Hello, my little subjects. Heather Blossom here, and isn't it great to be an American? Such a wondrous country where we make things explode, watch things explode, and eat greasy food until we explode. The American way. But nothing makes me feel more American than watching some good old-fashioned G.I. Joe. Whether it's a real American hero, Renegades, Resolute, or even some of the live-action stuff, it never fails to get me pumped. Personally, I didn't grow up with G.I. Joe. I'm not an 80s baby, so real American hero wasn't around for me. My fixation on the series actually didn't start until the beginning of my 20s. Around the same time I opened up to comic books, but that's a story for another time. Now, why the sudden interest? Well, a channel I adore and follow for its nostalgic cartoon content material named a real American hero's Cobra Commander #1 on the Villain Top 10, and it got me curious, since they named him #1 for a strange reason, namely that he was a coward who was fun to watch fail, and when I dug up the series, I couldn't help but agree. The Joes themselves can be fun. I especially enjoy Shipwreck since he's the one the writers would allow to get goofy and impulsive, the one to crack jokes, and the one to mouth off. Those kind of characters are just always fun. The one problem I came across though was that there was just way too many Joes. Too many to remember, and some with overlapping personalities. Like, I need to seriously take a minute and think with Flint and Duke to remember they were different characters, since they were basically interchangeable. Same thing for Scarlet and Lady J. They all had some sort of gimmick, but names were never really my strong suit, so as far as I know, there was ninja guy that never talked, Texan guy that flew the helicopter, guy that never wore a shirt, and racial stereotypes. Cobra never had this problem. I can name all their team members at the drop of a hat. Cobra Commander, Destro, Baroness, Zmot, Tomax, Major Blood, Firefly, Storm Shadow, Zartan, Serpentor! I hate that one. Never mind. It's okay. It's okay, whatever. He was just basically the worst designed, worst thing ever that they tried to replace Cobra Commander with, but it's fine. He may have turned the Cobra Commander into a literal snake, which made everything terrible forever, but it's fine, because they eventually turned him into a lizard, and according to good fanfics, they ate him, and he's dead now, so everything's fine. Speaking of Cobra Commander, he's basically the heart of the series. Strange, isn't it? The bad guy is what keeps this thing going. In every iteration, the Joes have never fought against anyone else, which is bizarre with long-standing franchises. Sure, he might send different agents, maybe someone new pops up, but it's always Cobra Commander who is the driving force. His selfish need for power, his own survival, his own ambitions. In the theme, they even state that G.I. Joe is an elite military unit whose sole purpose is to thwart Cobra. So, no Cobra, no Joes. And even though several have tried to uproot the commander from his place of power, and should have probably had the ability to do so, he always manages to keep his throne. And why shouldn't he? With his identity always guarded, a bit of his persona is up to your imagination, which I appreciate. I don't like every little detail served to me on a silver platter. It's fun to have a character you don't get the full story about, who you have to make inferences of and wonder about. Of course, that doesn't mean he's not given a personality. In general, he's usually given one of two: an inane coward or an intimidating strategic genius. The latter of which was usually reserved for the grittier interpretations of late because, you know, kids like cool villains with rocket launchers who give monologues to world leaders and robots and murder their own underlings. The cowardly bit was reserved for the older, cheesier renditions. One of the more modern takes addresses the cowardly days of old and waves it off as a weird way of motivating his people, which is kinda dumb. I mean, I get it, you ain't my mama's Cobra, you're your own man, but you don't gotta lie to me. It's okay to be scared. I guess what I'm getting at is the shows all heavily rely on him. Yeah, I mean, come to think of it, he's one of the few stable points in the series. G.I. Joe has tried their best to focus on, well, the Joes. They went from adding characters on like crazy in the old cartoons to focusing on smaller groups and their relationships with each other. Speaking of ships! Nope. That's not what this is about, Heather. Not here. But yeah, they've tried to flesh out their Joes and make them interesting characters instead of just thinking up a marketable design. Yes, I said marketable. This is a Hasbro-owned series after all. All the same, outside a few, the characters get swapped around a lot with each renewal. Cobra doesn't get this problem. It's always Cobra Commander with Destro and Baroness not far behind, and they are always identifiable. If you watch one series of G.I. Joe, you're bound to recognize the Cobra clan instantly, unlike with the Joes whose redesigns either look completely different from their other iterations, or they look similar to another former character, which just gets confusing. I'm thinking the staffs behind these shows notice the past trends. The bad guys are always big favorites, which is why Cobras have been very similar to their ancestors. They kept what works. The problem is they usually have trouble finding a similar sticking power with the lead Joes. Learning from the past, stacking on too many Joes is a problem. Some iterations have been consistent and kept Duke and Scarlet as main leads along with Snake Eyes, because if one side is going to have a ninja, they both need to have ninjas. The cast around them, though, tends to change pretty often. With so many Joes to pick from, I guess that was bound to happen, and with this being a series that needs to market a product, they might not get too much choice with whom they must include and how they need to act. I find this all unfortunate since there hasn't been a stable series for the Joes in a while. The last TV series I can remember was Renegades, and that was actually pretty good, but only got one season. There isn't much of anything going on with the Joes since the live-action movies, and I'm secretly wondering if the series is just dead. Maybe Hasbro is too busy with its more profitable properties to bother. It's plain unfair. This concept has so much to offer and half of it works so well, but the weak points are just too detrimental to keep it afloat, I guess. Wow, I can't end this on a bitter note, can I? Destro, take it away!
Thank you, ladies and germs. I just slithered in from headquarters and, boy, does my stomach hurt. But, seriously, folks, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the studio. No, I cannot continue with this idiotic drivel.
How you doing?
Not even in your dreams, you thirsty airhead!
Apparently not on my own show either. I'm Heather Blossom, and Yo Joe, I guess.
Yo Joe!
Joe!
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra, the enemy, fighting to save the day. He never gives up, he's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe,
A real American hero.
G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is there.